Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Professor, where we answer your questions on everything from economics to political philosophy to current events to culture. All those things that matter to us in our common life as Canadian citizens.
All right. And Bill asks, Stephen Harper had a chance to stack the Senate after the election and he chose not to. The Liberals have taken every opportunity to take advantage of their time in power. Why are principles chosen over politics?
It's a curious thing, particularly because Stephen Harper had a tendency to play hardball, and yet in this instance, I don't know exactly what happened, that he took this weird combination of high principle and low snarkiness and said, well, if I can't reform the Senate, I'll just pretend it's not there. But it was fairly obvious that he was leaving it open to his adversaries to fill it. So I don't know what he was thinking there. I know what the Liberals were thinking, though. They were going to take the partisanship out of it. They expelled the Liberal senators from their caucus, and they were just going to appoint the best people by choosing a panel of the best people to pick the other best people. And of course, all the best people are like us. I mean, I suppose there are other people in the country, but we don't know them. We don't put them on boards. We certainly don't put them in the Senate. So the result of this is that the nonpartisan Senate is more partisan than the partisan Senate because they don't even know it. Instead of saying, okay, you are wearing a red tie, you are a liberal, you have raised money for us, you go sit in the Senate, and everybody says, oh yeah, okay, there's a guy who's been in the Liberal Party all his life, therefore we know he's a liberal. It just coincidentally, remember Justin Trudeau said no one could run for the party, for instance, who was pro-life. Well, I'm sure they're not going to appoint a bunch of pro-life senators, are they? They have all the right attitudes, but it reminds me of Bill Buckley's jibe that Liberals are always talking about other points of view, but are always astonished to find that there are other points of view. And so the result of this, in fact, is that we get a Senate that, in its apparent independence, is more likely to feel that it has legitimacy on important public issues that is really just an appendage of Canada's cultural, political elite. And is even more biased for being unconsciously so. I should probably state, just, conflict of interest here, I applied for one of the open Senate posts. I have not as yet been appointed. I do not know whether it is because they know who I am and think I shouldn't be in the Senate, or because they have no idea who I am. It could be anything. I'm sort of hoping that they'd appoint me on the grounds they think I would annoy the Conservatives more than I would annoy the Liberals. However, that's unlikely to work out in practice. However that may be, I am not one of the best people, and so obviously virtually every opinion I've ever expressed runs contrary to those things which we all know are in the interest of the country, so I'm not going to get the job, but all kinds of people are going to get the job who by sheer coincidence all think the same way, all think the same way Justin Trudeau thinks, all go to the same kinds of parties, all have the same kind of background, and very, very few of whom you'd want with you on a lonely road on a rainy night trying to change a tire.
Okay. Well, I was going to say something. Now I have to agree with the tire changing thing, probably, although you could never know. People could surprise you, but really, they all think the same? Is that the serious opinion, or are you just being kind of...
No, that's a serious opinion. How many people in the Senate who've been appointed by Justin Trudeau are pro-life? How many people that Justin Trudeau appointed to the Senate think that America's military might has been a decisive factor in making the world livable in the last 50 years? How many people appointed by Justin Trudeau to the Senate doubt the orthodoxy on man-made global warming? How many people who Justin Trudeau appointed to the Senate don't think that everybody in Canada should get a university degree? You can run on down the list. How many of the people that Justin Trudeau appointed to the Senate don't prefer art films to Disney movies? Yeah, but there probably are a few exceptions, and I hope they'll find more of them.
A lot of Disney movies are art films, okay?
But it is an unconscious, we're us and they're them, that is, as I say, it's more dangerous because of the fact that it's unconscious. They don't sit there and think, okay, we're going to have a bunch of people who all hold the right opinions and the right things. They just look around and say, well, obviously, these are the suitable candidates. One does not appoint the hoi polloi to a position of importance, does one?
Okay. And you think that if Stephen Harper had been less stubborn about not appointing anybody, because he was, I guess, determined to ignore the whole Senate thing, that he wouldn't have done the same thing? Except,
I think that he would have appointed people who fit into his idea of politics, which is they would have appointed nasty partisans in large measure.
Consciously or unconsciously, it would have been the same thing.
I'm just saying from a tactical point of view, it's odd that Harper left this opportunity open to his enemies, because normally his failing in politics was to be too cunning and mean-spirited. And in this case, I don't know if it was principle or just he just didn't feel very energetic on that file. I'm not sure what it was. I don't say it would have been better. There are ways to make the Senate better. I think senators should be elected by the provincial legislatures. That's part of our documentary on fixing the Constitution. And then the provinces could decide to do it some other way if they wanted to. But that's how I would do it, to make the Senate a real voice of the regions. Of course, our documentary also said we need to split up the bigger provinces. We need more provinces to make Canada a more effective federation. There's all kinds of things you could do, but they take boldness. Appointing people who are just like you, among other things, it's just so tediously unimaginative. They're always talking about bold and new, but these are just words in a dictionary to them.
All right. Okay. Well, I hope that answers Bill's question. Folks, if you would like to play along and ask your question of the professor, the URL on your screen will take you to a page where everything is explained. Thanks, and see you next time.